morning, good afternoon, I should say.
No?
Mr. Bell, I have a question.
Yes.
About on the module for turning in the journals, I still don't see the choosing the number of journals that you have for question 1.
Yeah, so I went back in, I changed it. Hopefully, it should just be a number that you can write in. Is that not what you're seeing?
I still can't do so. No, it's just giving me nothing.
Questions down and think about them, because the whole purpose of this class, when I first brought it to the attention of Las Positas and when I was developing this course, has always been about helping to change your life, right? So it's not about understanding the debits and credits so that you can have an advantage when you get into your intermediate accounting class. It's, although I'm appreciative that it has transferability and that it has quantitative, and you can transfer as a math class, it's not about helping you transfer to a four-year university. This is really a class that I wanted to bring to the community at large, so that we as a society can become better, more aware of our finances and the roles that they play. So here are the 9 questions. This is from an article titled 9 Powerful Questions That Will Change Your Financial Life. And I thought they were great questions to ask. So I'm going to ask them to you now. Number 1 is asking yourself, what is the role of money in my life? And you want to think, you want to answer all these questions you want to answer honestly, but you really want to think about it, from an honest perspective. What does money really mean to you? And why is it important to you? And what type of importance does it have in your life? I see money as a tool, and it's a powerful tool. And the more money you have, the more influence you can make. Sometimes for good, sometimes not for good. Okay, but it also is a representation of freedom, because it gives you the ability to kind of choose how you want to spend your life. The next question is, what did my role models teach me about money? Okay. And when I say, or when I think of role models, there are role models that we have selected because we've admired them up close or from afar, and we appreciate what they've accomplished. And then there are role models who have just been more or less assigned to us. And those could be our parents, whether they influenced us positively or negatively. They could be some of our sports icons that we look up to, and some of the good things that they've done with their money, and some of the not good things that they've done with their money. To what degree does money control my happiness? Again, this is really a question that you have to do your own self-reflection and be honest in making this assessment. Money does buy happiness, and it can buy happiness. There's a study that said, I believe it was in order to be happy, you need to make, I think in the U.S. it was somewhere around $60,000 or $70,000, right? But once you achieve that, right, anything above that is not necessarily buying you more happiness. But you want to be able to have this honest discussion with yourself: is what does money mean to me? As I reflect on the environment that we're in right now, and the lack of money, the lack of resources, is influencing, for a lot of people, the level of happiness that they can have. If someone's living in a 2-bedroom apartment with 6 people, they're not going to be as happy as 3 people living in a 4-bedroom house. So it's there is a level of there is a degree to which money controls your happiness, but you have to decide to what degree does that exist. This next one is how do you react to financial stress, financial disappointment, or financial fears? So it's really important that you know who you are and what your triggers are. And for some, when they get into a financially stressful situation, they contract and become like a hermit. And all of a sudden, there's no entertainment. There's nothing, right? Because you've lived a lifestyle where you didn't have enough, and so you just you contract almost to the point of pain. And then there's others who get in financial stress and they react in the opposite direction, where they need a shopping spree, or they need to go on a vacation, right? But it's important that you know what are your triggers, and when you have these financial stresses, what impact does it have on you? Do I know what I want? Do you know what you want to accomplish? Do you know what your goals are? And I'm talking about, do you know what your goals are today? Your goals today will be different 5 years from now. Okay? They could be different a month from now. Okay? But it's really important that you have a sense of, this is what's important to me right now. And it's not just something that you just, I see it and I say, oh, I want that. But it's something that you've given some thought to, and you can prioritize your desires and your wants. If you do not know what you want right now, then the question is, what are you doing to determine what it is that you desire? So there are a number of really good books out there that and activities that you can do online to help you assess what truly is important to you, and what is it that you value, and what your goals are, whether it be career goals, financial goals, spiritual goals. Okay? But if you don't have goals, then you should be wanting to do something to acquire some goals. If you do have goals, then the question is, how are you spending your resources in a way that is aligned with what it is that you desire? Okay? And by resources, we're talking about money. Okay? So if you have a goal, how are you spending the money that you have toward meeting that goal? Okay? It's also your time. Okay? So I think that's also a very important resource that a lot of time gets overlooked. But how are you spending your time, and are you doing it in a way that's consistent with what your ultimate goals are? So this next question is saying, do I know how to budget? Do I know how to plan? Do I know how to strategize? And this last part, do I know how to do these things so that I can get what I desire? So a lot of what we've been talking about in this class, and I put a lot of emphasis on a budget. And I know that sounds extremely boring and it may sound overwhelming, but really what it's about is just saying, this is what's important to me, and here's my plan to achieve it. And basically putting money in its place. Telling money, this is why you exist. You exist to help me achieve what it is that's important to me. And this question is, how much and in what ways do I give? And I'll tell you guys, I circled through about 8 or 9 different articles to find a good list of questions that I didn't have to tailor or change. And this list stood out to me. And one of the reasons why is because it talked about the importance of giving. I don't know about you, but I've been watching more TV over these past 6 weeks than I have. And there's this commercial, and I don't even know who but it's about some financial planner. And it's their tagline is understanding the why of wealth. And there's one commercial where a young man in his 30s comes back to a school. He meets a lady in the hallway and he says, "Hello, Miss So-and-so." And she says, "Oh, it's so good to see you. I've been hearing so many great things about your company." And he says, "I just want you to know that, that you and this school was such a huge part in my success. And so I wanted to give you this." And he hands her a box, and it's a laptop. And she's like overwhelmed, like, "Oh," but before she can even say anything else, he goes, "And you're going to need some help with all the other boxes." And then it cuts away to a delivery truck outside of the school, and he's giving away like hundreds of laptops to the school. And then the commercial says, understanding the why of wealth. Right? So it's not just about wanting to achieve money for money's sake or riches for riches sake, but when you understand why you're pursuing this pathway, I believe that is what becomes your motivator on a day-to-day, on a week-to-week, on a month-to-month, a year-to-year basis. Any questions?
Yeah, I had a question. You said, well, those were great points, but or great questions. But you had said that no one asked you any questions, or we didn't have any. Did you mean we had to submit them somewhere, like online? Because I thought we were just going to present them right now to you.
Oh, no, I was hoping you'd give them to me beforehand so I can research them.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah. Otherwise, I'm just talking out the side of my neck.
Right.
But if you have a question, I'll take it.
I do have a question. Right. Okay. I had a question about one of the questions you brought up from that list. Did you have any books maybe you recommend, any specific books on, helping people find their goals, determine their goals if they haven't already?
So I do have a list of books that are on Canvas, and I encourage you to look at those books. I encourage you first to check with your local library because I do my best to rent books instead of buying them. But these are all very good books that I would recommend. There is. Let me see if this book is on this list.
I'm serious. Close it.
It's stuck.
Well, you shouldn't have opened the IO.
Hey, no.
Yeah, so all these books are just based on personal financial management that's listed there. There's also a really good video, if you haven't watched it yet, called The Right Response with Michael Jr., A Lesson in Giving. He's a comedian, and so it's quite an entertaining video. But I encourage you to look at that as well. I will open it up to see if there are other books that anyone else would recommend.
All right. Thank you. Another question, but I don't know, maybe you'd be the kind that you had to prepare for, but I'll try to ask it anyway, if that's all right.
Sure.
All right. This has to do with the college. Is there anywhere on, the Las Positas website or something where I can maybe find receipts or payments that I've made to them for, classes?
I do not know. Is there anyone online that can answer that question?
Maybe ClassWeb.
ClassWeb?
Yeah, and under student services.
Okay.
And then there's a button that says pay for classes, and it'll show you what you paid for.
What I've paid for classes previous?
Yeah, it'll have a whole, the whole section.
Okay. Yeah, I've been on there before, but I never really, kind of seen some of that. Just registered. But okay, I'll look at it and, because I need it for taxes and stuff. So I'll go ahead. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, thank you. Are there other questions that you wanted me to answer?
Yeah, I had one more question, just one more. When I was trying to make a payment for I think it was a registration fee here on the ClassWeb. I did everything, like I put in my card's number and I agreed to the payment, and then it just kept processing. I clicked and then it said processing, and I thought I'd have to wait, but it just kept on going forever. It wouldn't stop processing. So I don't know. I didn't know what to do about that. Do you think I should call someone? Because there's a number on the side on ClassWeb when you pay for stuff.
Yes, I would also, so you could call someone, or you can call a specific person. So because you were in this class and you heard Mila Jabbar, who's in financial aid, I would send her an email directly and ask her if, explain the situation and ask her, can she help or can she refer you to someone to help? This is just the way that we work. If a student reaches out to me, kind of unsolicited and asks for advice, I may get back to them. I may not, not in a timely manner, but I'll do my best. But if they reach out to me and say, Bryant asked me to reach out to you, or Brian, you send me an email and say, hey, I have a friend that's going to reach out and ask a question. Well, now there's more of an obligation that I have to be responsive to that person. So connections matter and they work.
Right. Totally right. Okay. I actually did send an email, I think, as soon as I, had the problem. I mean, I'm checking my mail. I don't think I got anything back. so I'm not sure.
Yeah, I would send
and I didn't send
to
it
Mila. I'd send
to
it
Mila.
directly to Mila.
What was her last name again? Miss
Jabbar.
Mila.
Jabbar.
EBAR. All right. Well, I'll try to get in reach. Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions?
Professor, I have a question about the class. You mentioned before. It's you mentioned that Buffett also think it's important to know the company's financial things. I want to know you mentioned the class that is about the accounting. I think is the class number. Could you please tell me how can I get to the class?
Yeah, so I believe the class I mentioned is financial accounting. And
okay.
Business 1A at Positas College.
Business 1A?
1A, A as in apple.
Okay, so that's the, I can go to the, is it in the summer course or is it in the fall course?
I don't know if we're offering it in the summer. There's probably one class being offered in the summer, but I know there's like 4 or 5 courses being offered in the fall.
Okay, I got it.
I can one of them or 2 of them.
I can what?
I'm teaching 1 or 2 in the fall. I don't know my schedule. I haven't looked at what my schedule is for the fall yet.
Okay, thank you. I can register it at the Los Positas website?
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome. Other questions?
Excuse me. I had a question about the last question that you just asked us. And what I wanted to ask was how you personally would determine, in terms of like what you give, how you would determine when what you have given or what you give back to others in whatever form it is when that is enough. When you determine, you know, what I just did, like that's, that's very, that's good enough. That's like sufficient. You know what I mean?
So you're asking, at what point do I feel like I've given enough?
Yeah, or like when you've done something that like is like that meets the standard, like giving as much as you should.
Wow, man, I don't know how to answer that question. I do believe in I believe this may or may not be in the Bible. I don't know, but it says to whom much is given, much is required. And so just the more that I get, the more obligation I have I have to want to give back. Now, when I was making, $31,000 a year, I wasn't giving $10,000 to my church, right? I mean, I gotta take care of myself. I gotta take care of my family. But as you continue to, and it's really, I guess what I would say is this, when you know what's important and I have my goals, I'm accomplishing my goals, I'm working toward that, and then I'm still being blessed with additional resources, well, that's the opportunity for me to give back. And if you've never been in a situation where volunteering, I mean volunteering like handing out food to the homeless, or going to the beach to clean up, or painting a building for a community center, or sitting with a young person talking about how you got into college, or but if you've never had this opportunity to give back, there is so much benefit of you being able to share your life, your experience with others, that it in and itself becomes a drug, and you want to give more and give more and give more. But make sure you have a place to stay and food to eat before you just start giving it all away. That's the capitalist in me. Other questions? So I'm going to end this course where we started, okay? Asking who wants to be a millionaire. And I do believe that this is a a tried and true method. Starting with knowing where you are and where you want to go, creating a plan to get there, making sure that you've built up a safety net, so that when your plan derails, because it will, you're able to weather that storm. To the extent that you have debt, making sure that you have your debt under control, that you can manage your debt. You have a plan to no longer be in debt, and then understanding the basics of investing, and knowing how to invest your money so that you can benefit from the magic of compounding. All the while, you're always looking for ways to increase your income, whether it's expanding in knowledge, taking on a side hustle, being able to turn your hobby into a paying venture, being a generous giver. So looking for opportunities to give, and then making sure that you stay connected with the right partner. And again, what I mean by that is your spouse or your partner. You two are both aligned in what your values are and what's important. With your children, making sure that they are learning good money habits, so that they won't continue to need money from you and again derail you from your dreams. And then staying connected spiritually. I believe all this works when you have a spiritual connection, and believing that what you see today is not necessarily what will be tomorrow, and just operating from that level of faith. I'm going to end with a quote from Dave Ramsey, that personal finance is 80% behavior and 20% head knowledge. And so what we were doing in this class is giving you some head knowledge, but really what I was doing was helping to modify, strengthen your behaviors, because doing this stuff learning this stuff is easy. The difficult part is executing it and being consistent. And with that, guys, we're at the end of the semester. So I want you all to have a great summer, and wish you well on the final exam. If you have questions, obviously I'm still around and answering emails up to and through the final exam, but even beyond that, And if you have questions, feel free to email me or reach out, and I will always do my best to help you and point you in directions of professionals who can help you as well. That's all I've got for today. So thank you all, and have a great summer.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bill.
Thank you.
So much.
Have a good summer.
Thank you.
Thank you for everything.
You're welcome.
I'll be in contact with you for the other thing.
All right. Sounds good.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Bell.
Mr. Bill.
Thank you.
Very much.